Oui, oui, je vous reçois.
Suleiman, I think you can
C'est bon.
proceed.
So I don't know if
Is it working?
I don't know if this is everyone online versus just the breakout. How many are you?
There's one which is ongoing, the capacity building. I've joined that time.
It's not.
How's this plan?
Is that-
It's not very.
Yeah.
This is
Share this one then. Yes, you.
Robert.
It's okay. Working.
Hello, can you hear me? Is the interpretation working now? Fred, please, can you confirm?
Oui, ça passe au niveau
Yes,
de
I do.
l'interprétation,
Yeah.
merci.
Okay.
Okay, so just like I mentioned, so we like the discussion on the planning. And the first question we're discussing now is what has worked well. Please don't forget that what we are discussing is on planning, budgeting, and selecting appropriate digital tools and technologies for health campaign digitalization. So we want you to use this Menti for your contribution. Please kindly scan this QR code, or you can just open a browser, go to menti.com, enter the code to join. Then you can actually respond to this question. Over to you, Fred.
No need to translate. There is a
Okay,
French
okay,
translation online.
Please, can we do that? Let's join the Menti now. Please, if you have any challenge, do let us know. Thank you. The answers are coming in. What is working well for us based on our experience in the area of planning, budgeting, and selecting appropriate digital tools and technologies for health campaign digitization. That's what we're discussing now. You're expected to go to the menti.com, enter the code, then please provide your answer.
I think they want you.
So we start with the university.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the interference. So we have decided to join the two groups together, the two virtual rooms together. So what we are discussing currently is around the planning, budgeting, and selecting appropriate digital tools and technologies for health campaigns in generally. So we are going to be posting some questions using Menti. So I'm going to share my screen for those that are just joining us. The first question we are discussing is what is actually working for you in the area of planning, budgeting, and selecting appropriate digital tools and technologies for health campaigns digitization. So please go to the menti.com, enter this code, or scan the QR code to provide your response. Thank you for the responses that are coming in. I have 11 responses so far. So we can quickly wrap up this in the next 2 minutes. Thank you. So what is working well for you based on your country experience on the planning, on your digitization of campaign in terms of budgeting and selecting appropriate tools and technologies? What is working well? What are the protocols you follow? What are the things that are guiding you to actually record the success you might have witnessed in your country?
YouTube share. And then move up to Menti. And then share.
So all right. Based on our responses, we've been able to see that what is actually working well in that discussion. Several platforms are available, different players with different approaches, cloud solution for digitization, selection of tools for ITM mass campaign based on the country's identified challenges, as tailored to the particular country, technical support from partners,
Ensuite, il y a la planification des campagnes.
l'appui technique de l'AMP, la ressource humaine.
Okay, so buying of decision makers to transition to digitization, network infrastructure and improving do not interest into digitization. So these are some of the responses that we have. So I will pose the second question for us to also to continue with. So the second question will be, what are the remaining problems or challenges to be solved? It could be technology, operational, technical capacity, or infrastructure. In your own various countries, what are the remaining problems or challenges you are looking at to solve? Please, same link. If you have logged out of it, same link, provide your answer. Based on your country experience, kindly share the problems or challenges that are still pending to be resolved in your country. Thank you. The answers are coming in. Please, we will want to actively participate in this. We're about 35 on the call. We will appreciate if you can share your experience based on the question posed so that we can learn from one another. So in addition, if you feel like you want to also like to voice over this and you just want to share it, we can actually also accept that in addition to the mentee response. Okay, so let's look at the responses we've got so far. So from your responses, we have technology for tracking and tracing commodities for accountability as one of the pending problems. Lack of interoperability with other digital tools used in the country. Lack of flexibility in the digitization tool, payments, difficulty in integration to integrate, technology, capacity gaps of HR on the use of technology, device thefts in some areas. So these are some of your responses. Let's go to the. So for the colleague that mentioned on payment, can you please explain a little bit on that so that we get what you mean by payments?
As well as that French one on technology, capacity, operational, and technical.
Okay.
Sorry?
All right, let's move on. You don't have any.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question is, what is needed to make planning or decision-making and budgeting for digitalization easier? What do you think your own view that is needed to make it easier? Your responses. And if you feel like you want to also voice over, you can raise your hand so that we unmute you and you speak. Please don't forget that you can actually speak with us on this question so that we have more people participating in addition to those that are actually responding to this. This is actually for us to learn, and we may not really get the picture, the right picture, the way as we go on. So we would like people to actually contribute by voice over whatever we conceive in mind to be the answer to the question being posted. Thank you. Someone trying to talk?
Et surtout, n'hésitez pas à participer en français. Je vois que docteur Chris Mouteba, vous êtes dans le call. C'est vraiment un call bilingue. Il faut pas hésiter à poser les questions aussi en français. Est-ce que quelqu'un veut partager son expérience sur cette question? Qu'est-ce qui est nécessaire pour rendre plus facile justement tout ce qui est planning, prise de décision et budgétisation de la digitalisation? Qu'est-ce qui serait plus facile pour, selon vous?
Thank you very much. So we'll move on. All right, let me continue. So let's go. We are continuing. We are continuing. Yes. So some of the responses we have. Okay, some of the what we have is clear vision about the need for digitization, use of AMPs, planning and decision-making matrix to help countries trying to digitize their campaign, but don't know what platform would best suit. Okay. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. We'll move to the next question. Please try to be participative. Okay. What are the needed functionalities for future systems that are currently lacking? So what are the needed functionalities for future systems that are currently lacking? Please don't forget that we are asking questions based on our experience in planning, budgeting, and selecting appropriate digitalization tools for campaign. So from your country perspective, you could look at what you are running currently and what are the gaps you have identified. And you try to present this for the future with effective use of the tools. So we'd like to share with us the gaps you've identified from your current tools. Thank you. The answers are coming in. So what are the identified gaps in terms of functionalities in your current tools that you want to see future system? Kindly share with us. A lot of information have been shared, a lot of technologies have been shared, and probably yours is not having such. You could leverage that and share the gaps you have identified for future system you are looking at in your country. From your responses, people are actually talking about the interoperability and integration of different tools. GS1 standard for traceability of commodities, a supply chain management system, not just an OTK form, improve interoperability and integration of platforms, reuse of data for other campaigns, a system that can be used for all stages of campaign, from micro-planning through the implementation. Thank you very much for sharing this, your thoughts. If you still want to voice over these points, we also welcome that. Anybody?
If I may come in about this point specifically. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please, can you go ahead?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the functionality that is missing really is about, I'm not talking country, but I'm talking like a general issue that the lack most of the time we have, we can see that the country decide to use a specific platform, but as we know, we have not one size fits all, and we don't have a platform that can do everything. And this posed the question about the interoperability of having a platform that doesn't have all the features, but can be linked up to another platform that have this possibility, this functionality. And what we also notice in the ground is that we can see different platforms working in silos, and they are not talking to each others. And also another issue is about the reuse of data. Once for instance, the one I'm more used to is ITN campaign. Once the campaign is over, what the data we are collecting and not be able to be reused to another campaign again. And this poses a question again of lack of functionalities. Since the data remains only for the ITN campaign, why not, for instance, for the household registration? This is a huge base and database regarding the household that can be used to another campaign, but most of the time this is not the case. This is why I like the presentation from Benin this morning about the possibility to use the data collected for a specific campaign to another campaign, to another health campaign. This is one of the things we really need to look at as functionality for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I quite agree with you. In addition to reusing of this data for multiple interventions, we also need to be thinking about the use of the data itself, maybe the campaign data. We should be able to have some kind of a predictive analysis which is going to be used for future purposes. Thank you very much. So we go to the, do you still have any other contributor on this? All right, let's move to the next question. What are the current barriers for starting or scaling up campaign digitization? What do you consider as barriers for scaling up campaign digitization? From presentation we had this morning, we noticed that campaign is being done in some districts, not nationwide. We also noticed that some countries are actually doing theirs nationwide. So what could be the barriers for scaling up this digitization, campaign digitization? So in some country, only few aspects of the health intervention are actually digitized, not the entirety of the entire program. And even in terms of the population, in terms of the regions, the states, districts, provinces. So what are the barriers that could have resulted, that could like cause this to be achieved? While we are getting response on this, we also welcome your contribution by voicing over this. Thank you. So do we have anyone that also want to come up and let's have discussion on this?
I'm sorry, but if I may come in about the barrier. Well, of the barriers.
Please
Can
go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
proceed? Okay. One of the barriers, I think, that hinders some people, some countries to engage into digitization is the lack of guidance, the lack of guidelines. They don't know where to start, especially when it's their first time. Starting from scratch can be very difficult for them. And sometimes also the specific health program don't have the capacity in terms of human resources, and they also don't have the culture, the digitization culture. This is something we need to cultivate over time to get people acquainted to it. And I think there is a lack of also of education about what digitization can bring into the specific campaign. And this is something, because if you just press people to go for digitization, and then it can be very difficult for them to really be engaged into it. Then I think the starting point is really to help develop some guidelines that can help those who will want to do the transition for the digitization to know exactly where to start from. Another point is about a past bad experience. This is something I experienced with a country. They have a very bad past experience of digitization. Then they are not interested anymore to continue. This is something that, yes, unfortunately, they have a very bad past experience about the data that was completely mismatched, and it was really difficult to get into definitely, and they were really not interested into investing again into digitization. Again, I think there is a need for education at a starting point. And for me, I see those points at really major barriers when it comes to starting a campaign digitization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. For your experience about the trust, they lost trust in digitization, and they are not willing to go back. So it still stands as we speak.
Say again, I didn't get your point.
Okay,
your question?
From your experience, you said past experience, they have bad experience about digitization, so decide not to go into it again. So are they still adamant about that?
No, I have no information. This was a couple of months ago. I have no recent information about it. All
right. Thank you for sharing. So we have these responses submitted by some of us here. People were looking at insecurity as one of the barriers. Yes, you are right. A couple of pockets of insecurity in some countries, and some countries, they are very, very actually pronounced. So this is one of the barriers. No guidance and guidelines. Yes, for the startup, it is very, very key for them to have a guidance, people to guide them on the step-by-step and teach them how to do it so that they can actually be successful. Restriction of the use of digital tools in some areas. Yes, that could also be a barrier. Past bad experience, okay, as shared by Fred. Lack of stakeholder buy-in. Yes, the political will of the government, political will of the people, the stakeholders that are actually involved in this. Full engagement of decision makers and donors. So this is also the same. We need people to invest in this. If there's no donor to actually support in this area, it could also be a barrier. Absence of network or internet in some areas, yes. Was also pronounced in this morning's presentation. Cost of digitization, yes, some digitization are so expensive, and it's not easy to come by. One of the experience also shared by one of our colleagues in Malawi this morning was in the area of power. Only a lot of areas are witnessing blackouts. So that's one of the issues. As also here we're also discussing about the human resource. There are some areas where we don't really have the human resource, and some actually have the human resource, but the capacity to also use this technology are not there. So this forms some of the barriers that we are looking at. So thank you very much for your participation and contribution. Okay, some answers are still coming in. We have country not taking lead on digitization implementation. Partners have power and tech skills to do it themselves. So leaving this digitization to partners could also be a barrier, because we also need to be thinking of sustainability. It's not, the partners will come and they will go. So leaving all the technical expertise only to the partner could also be a barrier of this digitization. So someone also mentioned budget, political will, HR, for infrastructure. These are the areas.
And also the insufficiency of smartphones, probably associated then with the insufficiency of financial resources. If someone wants to develop its idea here, but definitely also one of the key barriers.
Thank you, everyone, for participation. So we will be joining the main hall now for the continuation of the program. Thank you.
Thank you.